I have to be honest, I was never one to recommend women making the first move, mainly because I think it's attractive when the man is the bold one and takes the initiative. But I've kind of changed my mind about this, and I'm definitely more open to the idea of a woman approaching or being the one to open up the floor in person specifically.
Today we're going to watch a video of Courtney Ryan, and she's going to talk about why men don't care anymore about approaching women in public. And she's going to respond to a TikTok, and we're going to respond to her and the TikTok, and we're going to get to the bottom of this. Welcome back. So today we're going to watch Courtney Ryan once more. It's been a while. She's going to talk about why men actually completely gave up on dating, and she's going to compare that opinion to modern day TikTok episodes while sharing her own perspective as a married woman. Let's go into this.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan, and today we are reacting to a TikTok. I thought it could be helpful for you guys to hear a woman's perspective on this. So let's watch it together, reconvene, and I will tell you what I think. Okay, the text on the screen says SOS, meeting guys when single. So let's watch.
We need to have a discussion on my single people because I need to know what you guys would have done in this circumstance. They always say like you'll meet the person that you want to start dating or the person that you're with doing things that you love, whether it's going to the coffee shop, the gym, just your everyday activities, whatever. So today I go into the coffee shop, and the second I walk in, I see the most beautiful man, just like...
Okay, so let's get into this first and foremost. Calling a man beautiful is feminizing a man. You call a man handsome, not beautiful. A woman is beautiful, a man is handsome and attractive. Attractive, you can say that for both, but beautiful is for a woman. Otherwise, you soften and feminize a man on his appearance. Now, secondly, wasn't the rule if you go to the gym, you go there to work out, not to flirt, not to go on a date, not to set a date, not to do any of that? Then it's kind of perceived as harassment, right? If you go to the coffee shop, you go for coffee. Or you have a date and then you go to the coffee shop for the date. But not go and look for people you want to date, you want to take out, you want to court, you want to marry or whatever at those places. The rule has been set down for ages now, and it comes from the group that is representing here on TikTok and on YouTube. Even look at the smirk even of Courtney Ryan. She thinks it's already hilarious what nonsense is coming out of the lady's mouth. But let me tell you this. If you say that the standard is you go to the coffee shop is for coffee, I want to be left alone. I go to the gym is to work out, I want to be left alone. Well, basically then we're done. That's it. Everybody happy, right? Guys aren't going to approach you anymore, and well, you can do whatever you want. Why, you're going into it for whatever you want. So it's a win-win, right? But now you're complaining again. I mean, come on, come on. How can a person take you serious at this point?
Gorgeous features, brown hair, incredibly tall. I'm like, you are so my type to a T.
You hear that? Brown hair and incredibly tall. Like, that's like a YouTube title in the most incredible tall guy that I saw at Starbucks. It's just insane. Like, if these two are the highlights of the moment, you look at a person, then you basically put that person in such a superficial position that all they have to offer according to you are these features. And yeah, you can say, yeah, I got to get to know him first before I can get to know all the other stuff, but that's already enough. If you want to be with that person, you want to be impregnated by the person, you want to marry that person, you want to settle down with that person, but maybe that person might be a psycho, a sociopath, a narcissist. You don't know. That shows that society is built on superficial stuff first. If you can pass that test, you can do whatever you want. And how many people fake their way into other people's lives by playing on these parts? That's the sad reality, but that's the truth. And that's something people should be more aware of. The more I see people of upcoming generations trying to find the perfect partner, trying to create the perfect match, they always do exactly the opposite of what is actually truly expected if you're looking for a meaningful and long-lasting relationship.
Very business-esque energy to him too. And I'm like, yeah, that's definitely my type. He's sitting across the cafe. I'm like, I should make some eye contact with him, let him know there's a vibe here. But didn't end up like looking at for my computer, whatever. So I'm like, I'll just have no earbuds in so I look approachable, because I've been told I don't look approachable. So I'm trying to do everything I can to make myself look approachable to this man. He ends up walking over and sitting right next to me. And how it's set up in this coffee shop is there's like one long booth, and then a table in front of yourself, and then a chair on the other side of you. So he's sitting right next to me in this booth, and I'm like, perfect opportunity. So I'm patiently waiting for him to like spark up a conversation, but like, what would he have said? And
Wait. Hold on. I thought we were in the boss babe era, right? Or is that already passé? Is that already past tense? I thought the boss babe era meant you do not play the damsel in distress, you do not be the weaker vessel, you do not play in these stereotypes if it comes to women and femininity and all that stuff in society. You do the opposite. You want a guy, you go for him. You're gonna wait around. You're gonna play that part. So it's again not only the mixed signals, but if society constantly redefines what roles to play, whether you're a man or a woman or a man or whatever, the fact that that is in continuation, it never stops, never seems to end. A lot of men gave up. They're fed up. They're like, okay, in this country where I'm at in the West, it's not working out because I can't find my place and position. I can't actually establish if it comes to finding a partner or settling down. While women just play around with it because for them it's always fun and games. It's always been like that and always be like that until there is nobody around, and they've been warned multiple of times. I'm not the only one talking about this. There are other channels, bigger channels that have mentioned it. It's just true. And I've actually been doing some research locally, looking at young men from my age category, millennials and Gen Z, well, mainly millennials, that actually got married. It's always with a woman from whether it's Southeast Asia, Vietnam, the Philippines, Thailand, or it's from Latin America, Colombia, Brazil, It's always these types of women with a Catholic/Christian background, and women that believe and hold fast to traditionalism and do not play mind games, do not F around, don't do all of these things, It's so crazy to see that you just fast forward to modern day society in the West, and then you still have people complaining while these things are working out. Oh, I want traditionalism, but don't try to force me into a feminine role, in an uber feminine role, because it's the boss babe era. Okay, so what do you want? You have to be a man, but don't be too manly because it's toxic. You know how that gets under your skin? Of course, men will be like, never mind that. I'm done playing those games. I'm just gonna go somewhere where I'll be accepted just for being me as a man. I love myself as a man. I want to be treated as a man. I want to be respected as a man, and that's it.
I was too nervous to be bold and be like, hey, you're really hot. My name's Lauren. Here's my number. But like, I could have done that, but like, that's a little too ballsy of me. And like, I wanted him to just show a little confidence, maybe like pursue a little bit, because I think that's the most attractive thing in a guy. But I'm like, the fact that he got up and sat right next to me, he didn't even have to like charge his computer or anything, because he didn't reach out to grab a charger, because I'm like, oh wait, why did he move across and sit next to me? So that made me a little curious. So anyways, bummer. To make a long story short, we didn't end up having any conversation, and he got up probably like, I don't know, 30 minutes later or something. But yeah, you totally distracted me from my work, because I was like, I just want to kiss you on the lips. You are gorgeous, honey. But yeah, if you were sitting at Shortwave Coffee today next to me, you should have shot your shot, because you were beautiful. But anyways, I want to know what you guys would have done in that circle.
Well, hold on. So just basically because he's physically appealing and attractive in her eyes, then because he didn't do anything, he missed the opportunity of his life. Maybe he saw, I'm dodging the bullet right here, because it's one of these narcissistic types again. Is these vain narcissistic women of social media, these wannabe influencers that I have to be dealing with. I mean, I don't want to be rude in my judgment if it comes to physical appearance, but since we're doing an online thing, that's basically one of the main things I have to build up I have to build off. So the thing here is that just let's do a little social experiment in our minds, right? Let's say I or you or whatever goes into a coffee shop and you see this person, like how they present and how they talk. Personally, that's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I'm there for. That's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I'm interested in. And if the person has to, explain on social media that the guy missed his opportunity, the guy had a chance, the guy was idyllic and he would have walked away with a perfect catch, that by itself shows what of a effed up individual we're looking at. Exactly why he didn't do what he had supposed to do accordingly. that shows the guy was way beyond her league mentally, psychologically, because he knows exactly what's gonna happen, probably out of experience or probably because he's very observant, that these type of women do not lead to any type of success in a relationship.
Okay, so she's asking, I want to know what you guys would have done in that circumstance. So we're going to tell her. So first up here, I want to talk about the hints that women give men. You know, as a woman, it's always pretty obvious to me when a woman is into a guy and when she wants him to approach, but that is because I am a woman and I know how women work. But as a guy, I can absolutely see how this can be confusing, and also there's just a lot of bad advice on the internet about this. Let's be totally transparent. Just because a girl looks at you for 2 seconds doesn't mean that she's interested. And there's sometimes a very fine line between, is she interested in me or did she just accidentally look at me at the same time that I looked at her? So, you know, as a woman, I can confidently say, I think sometimes the way we expect men to read these hints and these minuscule cues, like, it's tough out there. So I think we can acknowledge that. You know, in the video, she said she took her earbuds out to look more approachable, and not having earbuds in, unfortunately, I don't think is necessarily enough for a man to say, okay, let me go up to her. She doesn't have AirPods in. She clearly wants me to approach her.
No, that's basically true what Courtney Ryan just says here. You know, she mentions that not having earbuds in means that you're more approachable and you're more, you know, accessible as a person in the social sense. But that's not true. I mean, these days everybody's walking around at least with one earbud in when they're in public. You know, that's basically a thing. So by default, that already signals like, look, I'm already busy, I'm distracted. But taking them out to appear more approachable is just also, in a sense, in a modern context, being delusional. Because to me, that screams desperation. Like, oh, look at me, I want to be talked at or to, I want to, you know, get to know you, look, I'm available, I'm ready. Like, that's what it screams. That is also desperation in a certain way. And people will pick up on that. If the guy was really that tall, if the guy was really that handsome and attractive, of course, maybe he already was dating someone, and, you know, maybe he doesn't care about dating someone. I mean, you don't know either. And that's something people should learn from this time and era. People think that when they present themselves and they want something now, they should get it instantly, like the instant gratification aspect of life. And that's a wrong way of dealing with finding or looking for the right person. That's something people should understand. It doesn't work like that. You cannot manifest someone just based on, okay, I'm ready now, so I should get everything I want right here, right now. If not, oh, bummer, they're lost. That's not how it works. And it also shows that you're butthurt afterwards because you didn't get what you wanted. These type of people aren't relationship material. It is proven by their acts and the way they talk and they present themselves. I'm sorry, I don't care how attractive you are according to whatever standards, but you are not ready for a relationship. You have nothing to offer. You can just better work on yourself first. Actually, some internal spiritual work, then let's talk about it again.
But A for effort, you know, nice try. I think that's a great starting point, but just taking out your earbuds, I don't know if that's enough to do it, especially if you didn't look up from your computer at him the entire time, like you didn't even look at him. So I would probably assume that you weren't interested. That's just from a woman's perspective. For the guys watching, I would love to hear down in the comments, what makes a woman look approachable versus not approachable? Like, what would signal to you that a woman is interested? I really want a man's perspective on this because I know from a woman's perspective. Okay,
so let me just interject my thought here if you ask it politely. So basically, what makes a woman more approachable is, well, basically nothing in modern society. Everything that has changed and altered in the sense of what used to be easy peasy lemon squeezy, all these clear cut signals that used to hint to I want to be approached, it doesn't work anymore because it's changed and everything always goes into a negative direction. So men will weigh the pros to the cons and the cons will weigh more, so they're not going to risk it. They're not going to risk their livelihood, their sanity and their finances and also, you know, their social status just because someone is ready to date, ready to mingle, ready to be in a serious relationship right now. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. The point is that there used to be certain cues that everybody accepted, right, socially in Western countries, but they got thrown out of the window because of all these different denominations, groups, and people that identify with such and such, that want to interject what is socially accurate and right, what is political just. And because of that, a lot of women went with it and will always use these cards every time they deal with a person in public that is genuinely romantically interested and want to invest. And that's why a lot of people, or a lot of men, are like, you know what, I can't be bothered, I'm sorry, with all respect, you do you. If that makes you happy, great, I'm out. I will look somewhere else where I do get appreciated and respected. And sadly enough, for most, well, for a larger portion of men, it's not in their home country anymore. And it's because of the ever-changing dynamics, and it's because of politics, because of relation, mainly politics. Politics is to blame, society is to blame, culture is to blame. Anything that wants to become more diverse, inclusive, and modern, if people tag along with, for whatever reason, whether they're supportive, whether they believe in it, whether not, whether they just feel like it's a new norm, it's a new way of dealing with everyday life, okay, fair enough. If that's something you want to do, if something that is important to you. But think about it, a lot of people that prefer the old school way because they find more truth and more solitude in it. They find more truth and structure in it, and they want to use that as well as leverage, so they can also bestow it upon future generations to build over and over again. But if the people they encounter aren't operating like that, or anti that, it becomes very difficult to see these people as approachable. You have to keep that in mind. You can always talk about minorities, and minorities not overriding the majority, but the minority do influence in some way or another the majority. And even if you don't fully agree, there might be some things that you take with you in your mind when you're dealing with people, and it will show once you connect with one another. And it goes so far, but it's so easy to tell these days whom's on what side and why, for what reason. But if it doesn't suit your needs, it doesn't suit you as a person, even in the sense of future investment, then why even bother whether you're approachable or not? It doesn't even matter then by then.
Like, just the simple act of not having earbuds in, I don't think would be enough for me to think that someone is interested. If they kept looking at me, that would be a different story, but just the earbuds, I'm gonna say no. Now, going back to the video in this specific situation, I think the fact that he moved right next to her and she didn't look at him or smile or say anything to him probably made him think, okay, she's definitely not interested. She didn't even look my way when I came over here, so I don't want to bother her while she works. Like, that would be my assumption. I think it would be very different if while he was on his way over to sit next to her, she looked up from her computer and smiled at him, or, glancing over and smiling once he sat down. Like, I think that would make the situation very different. If I got up and sat next to someone and they didn't even look up at their screen, I would think, okay, this person is very focused on what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing you can do to clearly signal to a man that you're interested to get to know the man is actually to ask a genuine question. And sometimes the superficial one is enough to get something started, something that's used to called an icebreaker. But they're not even doing that. So if you're faking or pretending you're busy, then the guy, since the guy is very easy and simple in that sense, he's gonna see, oh, that woman is busy, I'm just gonna mind my own business, I'm just here to grab my coffee, okay, let's just wait until I get in and I'm out. I mean, that's reality. And I'm being butthurt afterwards, like, oh, he didn't talk to me, oh no, why didn't he approach me, oh, it was the perfect one for me. Like, that by itself is just pure delusionalism.
I want to disturb them. But maybe that's just me. This is also a perfect time to talk about why men are not pursuing women as much anymore. I think there's been a substantial decrease in the amount of men who approach women, especially in settings aside from like a bar or club or something like that, because of the fact that many women have said they don't want to be approached, they don't like it, where it's a total no-no for them, how it makes them feel uncomfortable, how men are creepy. I could go on and on here. I would say most men don't want to contribute to this issue of making women feel uncomfortable, so they might be less likely to approach. Now, I also know there are a lot of guys too who just have a fear of rejection, which is a pretty normal feeling to have. Maybe a fear of an extreme negative reaction, which I'll be honest, I don't think is as common, but social media has certainly made it seem like it is. Or guys who are just more introverted or have social anxiety. So I know those things are definitely happening too. I'm not a man, so I can't speak from personal experience, and for that reason, I don't think it's fair for me to just sit here and say, get over it. But I will say, if you don't even try, you automatically fail. I know rejection is scary and it can be really intimidating to put yourself out there given the current dating climate, but give yourself a dang chance to succeed. That would be my advice. But going back to this situation in the video here, I have to be honest, I was never one to recommend women making the first move, mainly because I think it's attractive when the man is the bold one and takes the initiative, but I've kind of changed my mind about this, and I'm definitely more open to the idea of a woman approaching or being the one to open up the floor in person specifically. In terms of online dating, I think that's different, and I think men should still make the first move and take it.
Well, tell that to dating app like Bumble. But you know what I want to add to it? I would just say, like, look, for all these women in the West that are still desperate to finding a relationship within monogamy and heterosexuality, they should think about one thing. That might be the last saving line they have left before it's done, it's finished. And that's just being fairly honest, because they're all alternatives. A man isn't bound and stuck anymore to his home country. A man can explore different ventures, and in a correct and accurate way, you know, without having being a pervo or whatever. That's the thing. People will always put it down because they see it as an act of desperation because they can't find someone locally or in their own country. But that's not the point. The point is that if the water you're swimming in is polluted, and everything else, every fish in the water is polluted because of the polluted water, then there is no point in remaining in a pond. You just go to the next pond. That's the truth. I mean, that's also how cultures thrive and survive, by moving on, not by staying put, you know. And if societal norms and ever-changing relationships dynamics is more important, how you fit in and how you adjust and how you redefine yourself, fair enough, if that's important to you. And for women it's more important because it's a social, psychological, emotional thing. It's a part of being a part of the group. But men aren't reliant on that to survive, because it's not relevant. It doesn't have enough substance to it. And men can always start over again, and that's where there is a different route to go into, which person you're in which position. It's also the reality of things, and also see it in all fairness, because there is no point in staying put, there is no point in waiting, there's no point in trying and trying if the end result is almost exactly predictable. If you look around you, I mean, you have to be true to yourself and see if that's what you want, yes or no.
Initiative, specifically on a dating app, because you know why everyone is on there, and the in-person worries of making someone uncomfortable isn't really a thing. I'm actually not a fan of Bumble at all for this reason, but back to the video. You know, if men don't want to make women feel uncomfortable and they aren't picking up on these hints, or they overthink the hints and don't actually think they're hints, which is absolutely understandable sometimes, because sometimes these hints are really giving nothing at all. What the heck are we supposed to do? You know, I think doing nothing in a scenario like this as a woman is way worse than just saying hi and at least letting a guy know that you're comfortable chatting with him or into him. You don't have to be so bold and say, I think you're cute, here's my number, although that probably would make things a heck of a lot easier. But at least saying something, anything, gives the guy a green light. You know, if I were in her situation and I had the courage to say something, I think just saying hi or maybe asking what he ordered could have been totally fine. You know, it's definitely not the craziest or most bold thing in the world, but it at least...
Exactly what I was saying. So basically I was running way before Courtney Ryan came with her argument. Is basically, if you just start a conversation talking about what is going on, that is more than enough to see if there is some kind of mutual interest, and then you can go from there, whether you want to continue talking afterwards or not. That's how easy it can be. And yeah, in these situations, I do believe that the woman should be the first one to give a clear signal so the man can pick up on it and go with it, and then make a decision afterwards. But if people just go with whatever is presented these days as, like I said, new norms and new expectations and whatever, then of course you're not going to be able to know what you need to do, because it's too confusing. It's like basically still wanting traditionalism to happen in real life, but then at the same time representing the new formed version of what you should be or what a relationship should be about. And that's why it's not working. It's very clear, it's very easy.
This gets the convo started. You know, from there, it would be pretty obvious then if he was interested in continuing the conversation. I think women are often much better at reading body language and noticing small details than men are. It's usually pretty easy for us to read the room, so I don't know, now that I'm thinking about it, I think this might just make the situation more enjoyable and comfortable for everyone involved. I can totally see both sides, but I think if we want to meet people in real life, we have to get comfortable breaking some norms, because clearly what's going on right now isn't necessarily working. As I already touched on in this video, I think there are more reasons why men aren't saying anything or approaching than just them not being confident. I think they don't want to make us uncomfortable. They've seen us all talk online about how we don't like when men approach us, or what scenarios are okay versus what scenarios aren't, or that we just want to focus on our work and not necessarily worry about men approaching us all the time. So I think there's a lot that's going into this, and I think something that would definitely help is maybe not necessarily being so bold and saying, you know, you're attractive or you're cute, can I have your number, as a woman, but just opening up the floor for conversation and letting a man know that I'm okay with being talked to and I'm okay with being approached. I think that would definitely help. And I don't necessarily know if this mindset of sort of letting life pass you by and never putting yourself out there, never saying anything as a woman, simply because you want the man to be masculine or be confident or, you know, be sexy and take charge and initiate. I don't know if that's necessarily always the most helpful thing. I can see both sides, and as a woman, I think we should really try to have more of an open mind about this. I will also say I'm starting to understand a lot more why in the old days a woman would drop her handkerchief to signal to a man that she was interested in him. If she was, say, on a walk or something, and he would pick it up and bring it over, and they would start talking, and that was her green light of showing, I'm into you, come talk to me. Bring me my handkerchief. While that is incredibly unhygienic and I would never want to use that handkerchief again after it's sitting on the ground somewhere, maybe there's a modern version of this. Maybe we just open up the floor for conversation by saying hello. Or maybe one of you have a brilliant idea that you can let me know down in the comments. If you like this video or found it helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be in the loop for when I release new content. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me over on Instagram at Courtney Christine Ryan. I love connecting with all of you guys over on there as well. I would love to hear from all of you down in the comments if you have any experiences to share, your thoughts on this topic. If you're a woman, are you becoming more okay with the idea of opening up a conversation with a man or being the one to make the first move? I would love to hear from both men and women down in the comments and maybe get a productive conversation going or some good ideas. So as always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.
So what I want to add to it, it's kind of a question. Is it all right for a married woman now of her caliber and her status to be dealing with tons and tons of male attention online? Isn't that a bit questionable as well? You know, even if it's on a professional level, it's still questionable, right? Nevertheless, so what I want to end with myself is that it's not a bad idea to reintegrate or re-establish some old school non-verbal cues coming from a woman to a man to signal certain clear signals that lead to a potential date, a potential relationship, potential marriage. If that's something that's important for that person in their life, then they should also put in the effort. You can't expect one person to give 100%, the other person just to sit there and wait. It doesn't work. Nothing like that works. You have to believe in the 50-50 aspect if it comes to approach, connection, and relating to one another. You can't build a house just by sitting down and waiting for it to build itself. You can't enjoy the house if you're only working until you just completely get devastated and you fall, and you know they can just put you in the ground instead of the house. You know what I mean? Both of the extremes are not going to work if you want to be able to enjoy life to the fullest. So let me know if you like the video, comment, subscribe, and thank you for watching. Take care, and I'll be seeing you as usually next time. Hey, I just wanted to take the time to thank everybody who subscribed recently. I do really appreciate that. If you want to see more vlogs, if you want to see me doing more commentary, if you want to contribute to the conversation, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and share the videos so we can reach a broader audience, so we can create a bigger community, and so we can get to the bottom of this. We can actually come with some pretty solid solutions that can help one another and even motivate one another in life. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned.